Hello students, we have started our topic molecular basis of inheritance, and just we have seen that the process of the replication, that is the definition of the replication. In previous lecture we have started this point, replication of the DNA, and we have seen the definition, that is the duplication of the DNA itself is called as the replication. That means when one DNA molecule forms the two identical copies of it, then we call it as a replication. We have also seen that the cell can be regulated or controlled by this DNA molecule, because in majority of the organism this DNA acts as a genetic material. That's why it is responsible for regulation and controlling the characteristics of the cell. Not only it control the characteristics or the regulate the cell, but also it is involved in the synthesis of very important biomolecules which are useful for the metabolism of the cell. That means in a cell, number of biomolecules are synthesized at every minute, at every second, and that molecules can be synthesized by this DNA molecule. Then for example, if we see the DNA R of the or the function of the DNA can be divided into two types, that is called as the autocatalytic function and the heterocatalytic function. That means autocatalytic means the DNA when going to form its copy itself, or in other word we say that when one DNA molecule get divided and there is a formation of two identical copies of DNA, then that function of DNA is called as the autocatalytic function. That is DNA can make the copy of its DNA, and so it is a autocatalytic. But for example, here we call as a replication process of the DNA is a autocatalytic function. But this DNA when form the other molecules of the cell, other molecules means if this form the RNA of the cell or it form the proteins of the cell, then that function of the DNA is called as heterocatalytic function. And here we can see that these two important molecules of the cells are formed from this DNA. So name itself indicates this, meaning auto means self formation and hetero means different molecule formation. So it is the important functions of this DNA. Now we'll see in detail the process of this DNA replication. I have told you that in a eukaryotic cell only one time in their life cycle this replication of DNA carried out, and it is carried out in the S phase of the cell cycle, because in the process of cell division we have seen that this interphase stage has the G1S and G2 phase, and in the S phase there will be synthesis of the DNA, that is called as the replication of the DNA. And in eukaryotic, in the cell cycle at the S phase only there will be duplication or the synthesis of the DNA takes place. So this DNA replication generally carried out in these 7 steps, and we will first revise which are the different steps by which in the eukaryotic cell the replication of DNA takes place. First point is the activation of the nucleotide. In the last year we have seen that the structural and functional unit of the nucleic acid, that means the DNA and RNA, is the nucleotide. So first point is that there is the activation of the nucleotide is first requirement for this DNA replication. Second is the point of origin or the initiation point. There is certain points on DNA. At that point there will be starting of the or origination of the origin of the DNA replication. Third point is the unwinding of the DNA. DNA is always wind around each other. That is it is in the form of twisted ladder or it is in the form of double helix. But for the replication of the DNA, this winding of the DNA should be separated and it should be unwinded. So unwinding of the DNA from the winding part is essential for the replication, and it is called as unwinding of the DNA. Then the replicating fork, after these 2 strands of the DNA get unwind, then there will be appear Y-shaped structure, and that is called as the replicating fork. then synthesis of new strand, then there will be formation of the two strands takes place on a single DNA strand, that is called as the synthesis of the new strand. Sixth one is that the new strand which are formed are called as the leading and the lagging strand. And the last point is that formation of the daughter DNA molecule, and at the end of the process you will form from one DNA or from one parental DNA there will be formation of the two daughter DNA molecule. Okay, so this is about the points which we are now discussing here, that is how the replication of the DNA takes place. So we'll see first point, that is the activation of the nucleotide. Before that, or I will draw one diagram here by which you will get idea of the DNA replication. See here, we have seen these two functions of the DNA, that is autocatalytic function and the heterocatalytic function. So as we know, the DNA is always the double stranded. There are the two strands of the DNA. Okay, all these these two strands are coiled around each other, and their coiling looks like the twisted ladder. Okay, so here, see here, this is the structure of the double helical model of the DNA. One strand if we consider as a 5 prime, then its end will be 3 prime. Other strand if we consider as a 3 prime, their end will be 5 prime. Thus we have seen there are two strands of the DNA. One strand run as the 5 prime to 3 prime, and other strand run as a 3 prime to 5 prime. And such an arrangement of the DNA is called as the anti-parallel strand, because two opposite ends come close together, so we call it as a anti-parallel strand. Okay, so DNA is a double helical structure. There are two strands of DNA, and these strands are coiled around each other like a twisted ladder, so it's called as a double helical nature. And the two strands of DNA are the anti-parallel, opposite end comes close together. This is the characteristics of the DNA. One thing is also there, that is there is a complementary nature between the two strands, or there is a complementary base pair between the two strands. What is mean by complementation or complementary base pair? So this diagram we will see again by the you to study the complementation base pairing or complementary base pairing. So one strand, if we see here, it is the 5 prime and 3 prime, and another strand is the 3 prime and the 5 prime. So what is meant by complementary strand or complementary base pairing? If see here, in this strand, the base pair which is present, which we call as a nitrogen base pair, adenine, guanine, cytosine or thymine is there. From 5 prime to 3 prime end of the DNA strand, on the single strand, adenine, guanine, cytosine and thymine base pair are present. For this, the complementary base pair which are present on this 3 prime to 5 prime strands are, if adenine is there, here will be thymine. If guanine is there, here will be cytosine. If cytosine is there, here will be guanine. And if thymine is there, here will be adenine. So here you can observe that adenine always pair with thymine, or thymine always pair with adenine, and in between the adenine and thymine you will find the two pairs of the hydrogen bonds are there. In between adenine and thymine, two hydrogen bonds are there, and in between guanine and cytosine there is the 3 hydrogen bond. So here in between guanine and cytosine 3 hydrogen bonds are there. In between cytosine and guanine again there are 3 hydrogen bonds, and this is called as a complementary strand, because once A, or we say that adenine from one strand of DNA always pair with thymine of the other strand of DNA, or thymine of one strand of DNA always pair with adenine of the other strand of DNA. So A pairs with T, or T pairs with A by 2 hydrogen bond, and it is called as a complementary base pairing. A never pair with G, or G never pairs with T. Again, this guanine pairs with the cytosine by 3 hydrogen bond, or cytosine pairs with guanine by 3 hydrogen bond. That means cytosine always pair with guanine or guanine always pair with cytosine, and this is called as a complementary base pairing. So due to the complementary base pairing or due to the anti-parallel nature of the strand, this DNA replication can be easily observed in this process, and that now we are going to study. So you can get the idea of the complementary base pairing and the anti-parallel strands of the DNA. Here I will draw one figure, and this figure explains you how this DNA replication can take place. See here, first point is that this is, we'll see first the DNA strand. One we have labeled as 5 prime to 3 prime, and other is 3 prime to 5 prime. Okay, so first point is activation of the nucleotide. If any one parent DNA has to replicate, then it has to first collect the nucleotides. And what is meant by nucleotides? Nucleotide means it contains the pentose sugar in the form of deoxyribose. It contains nitrogen base pair, that is adenine, guanine, thymine and cytosine, and it has the phosphate group. So nitrogen base, phosphate group and deoxyribose sugar, all these three components makes the nucleotide. So for formation of the new DNA, that parental DNA should collect the nucleotides. So first point is the collection of the nucleotides or the activation of this nucleotide. Then where these nucleotides are present? These nucleotides are present in the nucleoplasm. That means the content of the nucleus we call as a nucleoplasm. In the nucleoplasm, these nucleotides are present. But in the nucleoplasm, these nucleotides are present in the form of inactive state, and they are present in the form of monophosphate. That means here, see here, deoxyadenosine monophosphate, then deoxycytosine monophosphate, deoxyguanine monophosphate and deoxythymine monophosphate. So these adenine, cytosine, guanine and thymine, these are the nitrogen base pair. Okay, these are present in the form of monophosphate, and they are present in the nucleoplasm of the cell. So these nucleotides which are present in the form of deoxyadenine monophosphate, deoxycytosine monophosphate, deoxyguanine monophosphate and deoxythymine monophosphate, these nucleotides which are present in the form of monophosphate get activated by the ATP. They get activated by the ATP and they can get converted into the adenine triphosphate, cytosine triphosphate, guanine triphosphate and thymine triphosphate by the enzyme, and the name of that enzyme is phosphorylase. Name of that enzyme is phosphorylase. So these two important points are there. That means this structure, that means this deoxyadenine triphosphate, deoxycytosine triphosphate, deoxyguanine triphosphate, deoxythymine triphosphate. See here, this monophosphate gets converted into this triphosphate with the help of the ATP and with the help of one enzyme, and name of that enzyme is called as phosphorylase, and that process is called as the phosphorylation process, and due to which all the deoxyribonucleotide gets converted into the deoxyribonucleotide triphosphate, and this is called as the activation of the nucleotide, and that process is called as phosphorylation because enzyme phosphorylase is there. Okay, what is the important point from the activation of nucleotide? Nucleotide present in the nucleoplasm in the form of monophosphate, they get converted in the form of triphosphate with the help of ATP molecule and with the help of one enzyme, and the name of that enzyme is phosphorylase, and due to which there will be conversion of the monophosphate deoxyribonucleotide in the form of triphosphate nucleotide, and that process is called as the phosphorylation. So one thing is very important, that is the activation of the nucleotide. Then second step of the replication is the point of origin or the initiation of the replication. What is meant by point of origin? Now we'll focus on the figure which here I have sketched, that is the double helical structure of this DNA molecule. Here we have shown that the anti-parallel nature of the DNA, that means one end is called as 5 prime, another one end is called as the 3 prime. Okay, so this is the double helical and anti-parallel structure of the DNA. Now this DNA now going to replicate, and so for that point there should be the origin of the replication, and the point, see here, if we see, it is the origin of the replication, means at that point these two strands of the DNA get separated from each other. That is called as the origin of the replication. So it is the origin of replication. If we see, it is the T, that is the termination of replication. That same figure I will sketch here. What will happen here? See, at this point these two strands will get separate, and again you will find there is such structure. That means at this origin point the two strands of the DNA get separate from each other, okay, and they get terminate at here, means here they again get joined, and the this much process of the DNA is only involved in the process of replication. Here two strands get separated, that is the origin of replication, and here the replication process get terminate, stop. So here we are labeled as a T, and here we are labeled as a O, origin and the termination. These 2 points are very important. They are present on these double helical strands of DNA that we call as a O, origin and the termination point. And the unit of the DNA in which this process of replication takes place are called as the replicon. The unit, see here we have seen origin, we have seen termination, and now we are going to study replicon. What is meant by replicon? The question for MCQ is asked that what is replicon? Replicon means the unit of the DNA or the segment of the DNA in which the process of replication occur, and that is called as a replicon. So this much part of the DNA is called as a replicon. This much part of the DNA is called as a replicon, in which there is a replication of the DNA takes place. So replicon, origin and termination, these 3 important points are there which are involved in this point of the origin, which are get involved in this point of origin. And one important thing is that in the process of point of origin is that there is an enzyme which is involved, and that enzyme's name is the endonuclease enzyme. One enzyme is involved in the origin point or at the origin point, and the name of that enzyme is the endonuclease enzyme. What is meant by endonuclease enzyme? This endonuclease enzyme may cut at the origin point. Here it makes the cut, and due to this cut, these two strands of DNA get separated from each other. Generally, this endonuclease enzyme cut the phosphodiester bond or the sugar phosphate backbone. Then what is meant by phosphodiester bond? The successive nucleotides of the DNA get connected by one bond, and that bond is called as phosphodiester bond. Or these DNA strands are made up of sugar phosphate, so it is called as the sugar phosphate backbone. So sugar phosphate backbone or the phosphodiester bond can be break by this endonuclease enzyme, and due to which the two strands get separated there, and you will find the structure like that. Origin point and termination points will be there in this process of origin of replication. So in the point of origin, the 4 important points should be you remind that O means the origin point should be there on the double stranded DNA. T means termination point should be there. Here we have shown the origin point, and here we have shown the termination point. There should be replicon, that means the segment of DNA in which replication takes place. We call it as a replicon, and there is involvement of the one enzyme, and the name of that enzyme is endonuclease enzyme, which can cut this DNA at the phosphodiester bond or at the sugar phosphate backbone, and due to which the two strands of DNA can get separated. So this is about the point of origin. Then the next point of the replication is unwinding of the DNA. Next point of replication is the unwinding of DNA. Then what is mean by unwinding of DNA? See here we have shown that there will be this winding of DNA. These two strands are wind upon each other and there will be winding process occur. But this winding should be separated and that strand should be unwind because it is a requirement of the replication. So in this figure here you will observe that it is a double helical structure. It is a winding of DNA, but this DNA for the replication process should be unwind, and this is called as the unwinding of the DNA. This is the winding, this is the unwinding. So next step of the replication, it is a unwinding of the DNA. That DNA should be unwind, and which is responsible for this unwinding of DNA? One enzyme, and the name of that enzyme is the DNA helicase enzyme. One enzyme is there that is called as the DNA helicase enzyme, and this DNA helicase enzyme makes the unwinding of DNA, and thus you will find the separated somewhat straight strands of the DNA is there which are due to the help of this DNA helicase enzyme. So DNA helicase enzyme is important enzyme which is responsible for this unwinding of the DNA strand. Then the next point is that, and one thing is here, that this DNA helicase enzyme, what it did, it break the hydrogen bonds which are present between the adenine, thymine and guanine and cytosine. In between adenine and thymine, 2 hydrogen bonds are there. In between guanine and cytosine, 3 hydrogen bonds are there. These are the weak hydrogen bond, and these hydrogen bonds can be broken down by this DNA helicase enzyme, and it is also called as DNA unwinding enzyme because it is responsible for unwinding of the DNA. The next point is, the fourth point is the replicating fork. Replicating fork means what? And here I am going to repeat the same point that in the unwinding of DNA, here we have seen that DNA helicase enzyme is responsible for unwinding of DNA, due to which DNA strands get unwind, and here after unwinding of the DNA, that DNA looks like the replicating fork, or it looks like the Y-shaped structure. So see here, such a structure you will find during the process of replication. After unwinding of the DNA by DNA helicase enzyme, you will find such a type of structure. See here, this is double helical structure. This helical DNA first get unwind, and after unwind, here you can observe such a type of figure that is called as the Y-shaped replication fork. Such a Y-shaped replication fork can be observed during the process of unwinding, and here you will find the Y-shaped replication fork is only possible due to enzyme DNA helicase enzyme. So all about these are of the replication of the DNA. And the next point is that the replicating fork. Here we have seen that the Y-shaped replication fork is found due to the unwinding of the DNA, and this Y-shaped replicating fork is there. Here what happened? Again here you will find that double helical structure gets separated from each other, and there will be single strands are there. All these single strands which are developed due to the Y-shaped replicating fork, they acts as a template. Here I will give the name, that is, they acts as a template or mold. This separated Y-shaped structure in which there are separated single stranded of DNA, this DNA acts as a template or mold on which the new daughter DNA molecules are formed. Due to this single stranded, there will be some amount of strain is there. ताण येतो त्याच्यावर, कारण डबल स्ट्रँड एकत्र होते त्यावेळी ते एकमेकांना ऍडजस्ट करत होते, पण जेव्हा ते सिंगल स्ट्रँडेड झाले तेव्हा त्यांच्यावर स्ट्रेस आला, प्रेशर आलं, ताण आला एक, आणि त्याचं स्ट्रेचिंग झालं, आणि ते स्ट्रेचिंग रिलॅक्स करण्यासाठी तिथे एक एन्झाईम काम करतं एका सिंगल स्ट्रँडच्या DNA वर, अँड नेम ऑफ दॅट एन्झाईम इज कॉल्ड ॲज सुपर हेलिक्स रिलॅक्सिंग एन्झाईम. Super helix relaxing enzyme releases the strain or relieve the strain on the single-stranded DNA. So single-stranded DNA can be stabilized by the enzyme, and the name of that enzyme is super helix relaxing enzyme. See here, number of enzymes are there in the process of replication of DNA, and so we have to keep in mind all the enzyme in a particular point. So up to this we have seen the lot of enzymes, but here in the replicating forker the number of enzymes are involved, and the one enzyme which is useful, it is a super helix relaxing enzyme, which this enzyme stabilize the single stranded DNA. Next to that is the synthesis of new strand. Next to is the synthesis of new strand, and for this we have to draw one diagram which will explain how this synthesis of new strand is there, how leading and lagging strands are formed, how these daughter DNA molecules are formed. See here, I am sketching one diagram. Phi U prime see here, one diagram is there. If we label it as phi U prime to 3 prime, and this one is the 3 prime to 5 prime. Okay. In this diagram, the end of the DNA which has 3 prime end free, the DNA which has 3 prime end free is labeled as, this strand is labeled as leading template. It is labeled as leading template. The strand of DNA which has 5 prime end free, it is labeled as lagging template. Okay. Now see here, we will draw one diagram, one more diagram. It runs as phi U prime to 3 prime, and name of the strand is leading strand. It is called as the leading strand. Here we will also draw the diagram, that is phi U prime to 3 prime, but it is in a fragment. You observe very carefully this diagram. You can also observe this diagram from the textbook. Here this is called as the lagging strand. The dotted part is called as RNA primer. Okay, and this is a diagram of the replicating forker. Okay, this Y-shaped structure is there. Now we are discussing the point, that is the synthesis of new strands. Synthesis of new strand. How this synthesis of new strands takes place. Here we have shown that the DNA molecule separate at a point. That point is called as the origin of replication, and after the origin of replication, that strand looks like the Y shape, and that is called as a replicating forker. So this is the replicating forker. Here you will find the replication process of the DNA. So one strand of the DNA which has 3 prime end free, which we call as a leading template, and the other strand of the DNA which has 5 prime end free, which we call as a lagging template. Then what is meant by template? Template means the strand of the DNA. Template means the strand of the DNA on which the new DNA molecules are formed. So this is the template on which this new DNA molecule are formed. This is the template on which this new DNA molecule are formed. So template, or which we also call as a mold, is a single stranded DNA which form the new DNA molecule on which the new DNA molecule is formed. So it is called as the template. This one are the template and on which this new DNA molecules are formed. So in this point, that is the synthesis of new strand. Which requirements are there for synthesis of new strand? That means on this leading template, this new DNA strand gets synthesized. On this lagging template, this new DNA can be synthesized. For the synthesis, the two important requirements are there. One is called as the RNA primer. One is called as RNA primer. What is meant by RNA primer? For the synthesis of any new DNA molecule, there is always the requirement of the RNA molecule, and that is called as the RNA primer. So here we have labeled it as a RNA primer. Here also there is the RNA primer. That means here the new DNA is formed on this template strand, and for the formation of the new DNA, RNA molecules are required, and that is called as the RNA primer. So without RNA primer, no new DNA are synthesized on that template strand. So it is the first requirement for the synthesis of the new strand. And second requirement is that one enzyme is there. The name of that enzyme is a DNA polymerase enzyme. Without DNA polymerase enzyme, no synthesis of the new strands of DNA can occur. So DNA polymerase enzyme is very essential for synthesis of the new DNA, as well as RNA primers are essential for synthesis of the new DNA. So for the process of the new formation of the strands on the template DNA, there will be requirement of RNA primer and the DNA polymerase. So these both points are very essential for synthesis of the new DNA. Then next point is the leading and the lagging strand. Here we are saying that leading and lagging strand, not we are saying that leading and lagging template. Then what it mean by leading and lagging strand? See here, leading strand means the new strand which are formed on the leading template. Lagging strand means the new strands which are formed on the lagging template. That means the strand which are new one, and that is formed on the template DNA, maybe leading template or maybe lagging template, that is called as, maybe lagging template, that is called as the leading and lagging strand. And these leading and lagging strands are always formed in a direction, and that direction is called as 5' to 3'. See here, this leading strand which are formed on this leading template is from 5' to 3' direction. This lagging strand which is formed on this lagging template is from 3' to 5' direction. So here you will find that 5' to 3' is the direction for formation of new DNA. 5' to 3' is the direction for formation of the new DNA. It is also important, the question is asked that the DNA replication involves the synthesis of the new daughter DNA molecule. In which direction? It is the 5' to 3' direction. Always new DNA is formed from 5' to 3' direction. And see here, the next point is that how these leading and lagging strands are developed. These leading and lagging strands are developed in opposite direction. 5' to 3' develop on one template, leading strand. 5' to 3' develop on other template, the lagging strand. But one major difference is there, that is this leading strand develop continuously. Here this leading strand requires first the initiation of the RNA primer. This RNA primer first get attached to this 3'. Due to this attachment of this RNA primer to the 3' end of the template, there will be formation of the leading strand. This strand is formed continuously. Okay, but the lagging strand, which is also formed with the help of RNA primer, and that RNA primer is attached to the 3' end of the parent. But this RNA primer which get attached to this lagging template, they synthesize this DNA molecule in a fragment. They are synthesized it in a fragment. They are not continuous like the leading strand, and these fragments are called as the Okazaki fragments. These fragments which are produced on this leading strand are called as the Okazaki fragments, because it is the name of the scientist who first discovered these fragments, which are called as Okazaki fragments. So these are the fragmented strand, which we also call as the discontinuous strand, and name of that strand is the lagging strand. This is the continuous strand without any fragment, and the name of that strand is called as the leading strand. So this is the leading strand which is formed continuously on the leading template from 5' to 3' direction, and this is the discontinuously fragmented form of the strand which are called as the Okazaki fragments, and the name of that strand is called as a lagging strand, which is also developed 5' to 3' on the lagging template, because these two strands are developed from 5' to 3' direction. Later on, the gaps which are present in between these fragments are joined, and this joining enzyme is called as the DNA ligase enzyme. So this DNA ligase enzyme joins this gap which is present in between this Okazaki fragment. So here DNA ligase enzymes has a role in the filling the blank space of the Okazaki fragment. So this is about the leading and lagging strand, and the last part of this replication is the formation of the daughter DNA molecule. At the end of the process, you will find that such a structure, same structure, how we can show here, see here, the structure can be shown like this, and this strand is what you will find here. Here the one strand is from the parent as it is, and other new strand is developed here. One strand from the parent as it is, and other strand is developed new here. That means from one single DNA molecule you will get the two identical copies of DNA. That process we are called as a replication of the DNA. But in this replication, you will find that such a type of replication is called as a semi-conservative replication, because in this newly formed daughter DNA, one strand is completely from their parent and one strand is newly developed. That means 50% strand is from the parental strand and 50% strand is newly formed, and such a type of replication is called as semi-conservative, means half strand is from the parent and half strand is newly developed, and so it is called as a semi-conservative replication. And thus these two daughter cells which are formed here, they are having one strand of their parent and one new strand. Okay, so this is the replication of DNA, but I will again repeat it because number of enzymes role is there, number of things are there, how you have to study this replication of DNA, that I am going to now here. See here, you have to first keep in mind the 7 steps of replication, and these all steps I have written here. Okay, if there is question asked, that is what is replication, explain in brief the process of replication, then at that time you have to write all these 7 points, and you have to also draw the diagram which are given here, that is the representative of this process of replication. So I will repeat this point same here. Activation of nucleotide means in the process of replication, the nucleotides, which is the basic unit of DNA, are present in the nucleoplasm in the form of monophosphate. It should be converted into the triphosphate with the help of ATP and one enzyme that is called as phosphorylase, and the whole process is called as phosphorylation, or it is also called as activation of the nucleotide. Okay, so here phosphorylase enzyme and role of ATP is very important. Second point, point of origin means on the double helical DNA structure, certain points are there. At that point only the DNA strand gets separated, and that point is called as the point of origin. So point of origin is denoted by O, and the point of termination where the strands separation can be stopped, and that point is called as the T, that is the termination. And the unit of the DNA in which the replication process carried out, that unit is called as the replicon. And here one enzyme is there which is responsible for the origin of replication, and name of that enzyme is the endonuclease enzyme, which take the nick or cut at the point of origin, and that cut separate the phosphodiester bond or the sugar phosphate backbone, and the two strands can be separated there with the help of this endonuclease enzyme. So in the second point, point of origin, O T, replicon and endonuclease. These 4 points are very important. Okay. Then third point is unwinding of DNA. The DNA which are unwind or which are coiled around each other should be uncoiled. They should be unwind, and the unwinding of the DNA is carried out with the help of one enzyme, and the name of that enzyme is DNA helicase enzyme, which is also called as DNA unwinding enzyme. What this enzyme did, it breaks the hydrogen bond between the A and T and G and C and makes the DNA unwinded. At the same time, due to the help of this DNA helicase enzyme, there will be formation of Y-shaped replicating fork. So this Y-shaped structure will be formed at the point of origin by this DNA helicase enzyme, which we call as a DNA unwinding protein, or which also called as a unwinding of the DNA. Okay. At the same time, what happened? One thing is remain here. After the unwinding of the DNA, the single strands can be developed here, and to stabilize that single strand, means see here what happened. This is the double helical DNA. By the DNA helicase enzyme, these two strands get separated, and these two strands again there will be possibility of the uncoiling. So their uncoiling can be prevented by binding on this single stranded DNA one protein, and the name of that protein is SSBP protein. This point I have not explained before, so it is remain here. See here, after the formation of the single strand, that is after the unwinding by the DNA helicase enzyme, there may be possibility that that single stranded enzyme may again be uncoiled, or they again may coil, or they may again wind. So to prevent their winding, the enzyme or the protein, that is the SSBP, single stranded binding protein, acts on that single stranded DNA and it prevents their winding. So it is also important. So in the unwinding of DNA, we have to keep this 3 points, that is the DNA helicase enzyme, Y-shaped replicating fork, and role of SSBP protein. Then fourth point is the replicating fork. Replicating fork means we have seen that the Y-shaped replicating fork are formed at the point of origin of replication. There will be strain on each single strand, and that strain can be relieved by one more enzyme, and name of that enzyme is super helix relaxing enzyme. So you should keep in mind the name of super helix relaxing enzyme under the title of replicating fork. It relieves the strain on that single stranded DNA. The next point is the synthesis of the new strand. The new strands which are formed in the process of replication, this new DNA synthesis always require the RNA molecule, and that is called as the RNA primer. One important thing is that these RNA primer always attach to the 3' end of the template DNA. RNA primer always attached to the 3' end of the template DNA. See here, it is the 3' end of the template DNA. Here this RNA primer get attached. Here it is the 3' end of the template DNA. Here RNA primer get attached. So for initiation of the new DNA, RNA primer are responsible, and they get attached to the 3' end of the template DNA. And next point is that for the synthesis of the new strand is that there will be the one important enzyme should be there, and the name of that enzyme is DNA polymerase, because DNA polymerase can synthesize the new DNA molecule. It is responsible for attracting the nucleotide from the surroundings. So this DNA polymerase is also important here for the synthesis of the new strand. Then the next point is that leading and the lagging strand. That means here the strand which has the 3' end free, it is called as the leading template. The strand which has 5' end free, it is called as the lagging template. And on this leading template, there will be formation of leading strand, which is the continuous one from 5' to 3' end. On the lagging template, there will be formation of the lagging strand from 5' to 3' in the discontinuous way. It is in the form of fragment, and that fragments are called as the Okazaki fragment after the name of the scientist who discovered this fragment, that is called as Okazaki. Then what happens? The new strands are always formed in the 5 prime to 3 prime direction, both leading strand as well as lagging strand. But difference is that leading strand form continuously at a faster rate, lagging strand form discontinuously at a slower rate. And after that, the gap which is present in this lagging strand is get filled with the help of one enzyme, and name of that enzyme is called as the DNA ligase. So it is about the leading and the lagging strand. And the last point is that formation of the daughter DNA molecule means at the end from one DNA molecule you will get two daughter DNA which has one original strand from their parent and one strand is newly formed. Thus 50% strand of that daughter DNA is from the parent and 50% strand is formed new, and that's why this process is called as the semi-conservative replication. This process is called as semi-conservative replication. Thus here we have completed this replication of DNA. The one important thing is that different enzymes and different points we have to revise according to this title. So it is very important point of the DNA synthesis, and we have to see the figure. After drawing this figure you will get clear cut idea about this replication of the DNA. One more figure is given in the textbook, and this figure is like this. That is the same figure. See here what they have given. This is the, if we see with the 5 prime end, this one is the 3 prime end. They get separated here at the replicating point. This is called as the origin of replication. So 5 prime end has 3 prime end and other is called as the 5 prime end. See here, okay? Then what happened here? Here we have seen that A, T, C, G. Then T, A, G, C. Here double bond, here double bond, here triple bond, here triple bond. Then here one strand is developed. How is sequence? Primerization 5 prime to 3 prime. Here also one strand is developed. And the sequence is also 5 prime to 3 prime. But this strand is in a fragment. This is called as the leading strand. This is called as the lagging strand. Okay, leading and lagging. One important trick is that the leader is always first. So first strand is the leading and second strand is the lagging. Same figure is given in the textbook, but for replication of DNA we have to draw the first figure, and this is for our understanding. And see here, this is a replicating fork or the structure of the DNA. Okay, I think you have get all the about DNA replication. Thank you.